So is our love language constant or does it change? All right, for our audience, you guys have to understand what are the big risks of not knowing your love language. Really understand this, because being able to speak it, try it, even if things have gotten so bad, and if you've divorced and there's still strife within the relationship, understanding this and what could have maybe shifted the quality of your relationship in the past is going to be game changing for your relationships in the future. So here we go into our next segment. Is it constant or does it change? Well, Dr. Gary Chapman, again, I am so thrilled to have you on here. Let's talk about, can our love language change based on our life situations? For example, from dating to marriage, or like as we addressed in the last segment, post-menopause.
Yeah. I think the fundamental primary language tends to stay with us for a lifetime. But having said that, I think there are seasons of life, circumstances where another love language will jump to the top. For example, a mother who has 2 preschool children, acts of service may not be her primary language before that, but it's likely to jump to the top because she's overwhelmed with all that has to be done. Here's another example. If your number 1 and number 2 are very close, and sometimes they are, I call these people bilingual. Either one of those two are going to really speak deeply to them. And if you get enough of your number 1, you may begin to think, I don't know, I think number 2 has become number 1. But if they stop doing number 1, you'll quickly say, oh, no, that's still my primary. Here's another circumstance, for example. Let's say that your spouse gets word that one of their parents has died. Physical touch may not be their language, but at that juncture, you're holding them, letting them cry is probably the most powerful thing you can do at that moment. So yes, I think there may be seasons of life where another love language may jump to the top for a while, but I do think that primary language stays pretty important throughout the whole of life.
I agree. And so far, it's definitely my acts of service love language has been primary. Again, I read your book a decade ago, but my secondary love language changed. Mm-hmm. So I found that to be interesting at this time of life, that I saw that change. Now, is our love language different in different relationships? So romantic versus our children versus our colleagues?
I think it may be. I wrote a book later, the original book, called The 5 Languages of Appreciation in the Workplace. We just took the love languages to work, okay? I did it with Dr. Paul White, who is a psychologist who had 20 years experience in business. And we did find that there's not an overwhelming positive correlation between your love language in family relationships and your love language in the workplace. We found there was about a 32% correlation. That is, 32% of the people would have the same appreciation language at work and the love language at home. But the other folks, the work relationship, it would be different. Because let's face it, family relationships are very different from work relationships. Now, we use the word appreciation rather than the word love at work. It's the same basic need. It's that need to feel that people appreciate me. I'm not just a cog in the machine. They value me as a person. And that's why it's really important in the workplace to understand this concept, especially with those that you work with on a regular basis. So I think in those two situations, at least, family relationships and work relationships, the primary language may be different for sure.
Yes. And I have that book, 5 Languages of Appreciation, and I have taken it into my workplace. I have employees. I have over 20 employees, but a core key group have been with me for over 20 years. And I absolutely know their love languages, and I got to get better at communicating it. I'm definitely going to add that into my practices this year, but also the new employees. I haven't looked at their language of appreciation. So it will be fun to explore this. And again, to really create the dynamics of a loving workplace where we do feel appreciated. I don't think there's any greater gift I can give as an employer than that.
I think that's true. What we discovered is, or what research discovered, that's what motivated us to write this book, that 70% of the people in this country who have a job say they feel little to no appreciation coming from the people with whom they work. And 64% of the people who leave a job and go to another job say they left primarily because they didn't feel appreciated. So this is huge in the workplace.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for sharing this. And there we've been discussing, is our love language constant, or does it change over time? And I think it's important to keep abreast of it and look and see, as well as understanding what really is communicating love and appreciation to us as each individual. Dr. Chapman, I want to thank you for being here and let everyone know you can take your quiz online at 5lovelanguages.com. And there's so many good resources with Dr. Gary Chapman, but also this book is essential. It's essential for you and a great gift to give to all those that you love, and great conversation starter as well. So I think it's really fun to have. I want to thank you for your work here. And I'm going to bring you into my Girlfriend Doctor Clubhouse for an exclusive. And we're going to talk about a very tender topic, uncensored, on affairs and how to deal with a relationship if that person has had an affair, or if you yourself had an affair and you're trying to figure out, well, why that was not characteristic. We'll go into that in just a second. And for our girlfriends out there and everyone in the community, I want to make sure that you guys have your questions answered. Don't forget to connect with me at dranna.com on my podcast page, and be sure to enter in your questions. Plus, share with me what your love language is. Dr. Gary Chapman, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Dr. Anna. Good to be with you.